Can you hear me? I actually couldn't test anything because I realized all of our testing systems involve the two of us. So hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. What's up, okay, baby? Pearl. Appreciate y'all for dropping in. We might have a very interesting show today because I truly have no idea where Kristen is. She's probably sleeping in. She had a very busy week last week. If that's the case, then maybe we hang out. Maybe we do something fun and different. What did y'all get up to this weekend? What have I been doing? We're trying to buy this house, but we're renting it from the landlord, and I just have a lot of things to do before it before that happens, and so a lot of scrambling going on in my life right now. Trisol, that's a good question. I don't know. Probably overslept. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe she's fighting off a criminal syndicate. Maybe she didn't read the book and she's trying to read it really quick. You know, I've had that energy before. We were supposed to talk about atomic habits and good habits, but we might not do that because I had a lot of questions that I wanted to ask Kristen. But yeah, honestly, I'm kind of at a loss right now because I was not prepared. But that's okay. It's a fun piece of lore, I guess. But maybe I'll do like a video game stream. I've never tried to share my screen with a game during this one, so maybe that's not the best test of it. But I can't. Yeah, Pearl, 7 hours ago. I think she's still asleep. That's my bet on what's happening here. And then, if we're lucky, we'll get a shot of Kristen frantically logging in and trying to get into the streaming software and just absolutely camera out of focus and everything. If we're unlucky, maybe she just keeps sleeping. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for dropping in. He says, yeah, but my only request, chat, is that you give Kristen a hard time about this because it's really funny. He says, I don't know. I hope Kristen isn't gone, because she's my very good friend, and we have. I'm hearing like a bonking noise right now. Hold on. What is shaking? Something is shaking in my house. Give me 1 second. I don't know. It's not an earthquake because it's Massachusetts. Yeah, Fremont. This I think Kristen was late to a stream before. Either Kristen or I was. I'm gonna pretend it was Kristen because it's more fun for me to pretend that. But the yeah, no, Kristen is at my door. We're gonna do it live today or co-located today. She hasn't read any of my messages, so I don't think she's coming, y'all. I think the it's pretty good. To be fair, we were supposed to have a meeting yesterday to catch up and do, because we have like a weekly stand up where we talk about what we're individually going to do for the week, what we're going to work on with OK Banger for the week. I missed that yesterday because I had a doctor's appointment. And I definitely forgot to tell her. So I'm not blameless in this. Maybe this is Kristen's revenge. Asa, should I call Kristen? Let me see. Let me see if I can. Calling now. We'll see if she picks up. Requesting. Not getting anything. Oh, you can't really see, but I don't think she's going to pick up, y'all. Maybe I'll call her cell phone number. I was calling through Telegram. All right, let's try phone number here. Maybe it's on silent.
You have reached 323.
Oh, almost doxed her number. The oh man, that's funny. No dice. Oh, the call woke her up. We got a OMG alarm didn't go off. Let's see if she gets in. Come on in. I'll let her know that come on in. The water's fine. She'll be here in 15, y'all. All right, so we got some time to kill. Oh, Daniel, it's your fault. It's your fault. Kristen's late. That's really funny. Man, that's great. You got to have questions ready for Kristen because she's going to be groggy and off guard, and I bet we can get more honest answers out of her. PogChamp. Yep. Kristen sleeping in is pretty poggers. It's pretty funny. All right. So we're going to talk about habits today. Do y'all have habits that you like that you have, or like do you have good habits and bad habits and you like think of them that way, or do you just have things that you do? Because I realize, like, I've talked to people before, and not everybody compulsively thinks about what they do all the time like I do. And so, do y'all think like that? Play some music. I have not cleared any copyright-free stuff right now, so it'll take some digging to get that out. What's the live? The same? Yeah, Kristen will pop in whenever she's ready. What do you mean? Not all the time. Ooh. Ooh, Kristen's trying to figure out if we're live or not, chat. Asus, you eat an apple and peanut butter. Is that a good habit or a bad habit? Oh, okay, baby. I bite the crap out of my fingernails. I don't. Where is Kristen? That's the question of the hour, indeed, huh? The oh, what's up, Frog? What is the worst habit y'all have? I think mine is drinking these energy drinks. I picked up that habit at military college, and I've just like held on to it ever since. I like coffee, but energy drinks like make me vibrate, right? And that makes me feel normal when I'm vibrating. Doing things without thinking. Interesting. What about that is habitual, Pearl? Oh. The peanut butter by the side of the bed is well, I did that in college actually. So at military college, it's not a dorm, it's like a barracks. And you can't like I'll try to find a picture one day and I'll post it in the OK Banger channel. But it's not like a dorm. We had bedrolls that we rolled up every day. We had a desk, a chair, and a wall locker, like an open face wall locker, and that was like our furniture. And we could have snacks, but technically we weren't really allowed to have snacks, and so you'd have to hide them in one of the 2 cardboard boxes that you were allowed to have. Maybe it was 3. I think you had 2 miscellaneous boxes and 1 food box. Now, the food boxes where you could keep stuff, but you couldn't have it in the miscellaneous. Wait, the peanut butter is your worst and best? That's interesting. I think energy drinks is definitely my worst habit. Maybe my second worst is I stay up pretty late when I'm like rabbit holing on something. And so I'll go on like a YouTube rabbit hole or I'll do like a research rabbit hole. And then before I know it, it'll be like 2 a.m. But I really like waking up at like 6, 7 in the morning. And so I just like end up accumulating this sleep debt that I never get out from under. Oh, you don't know when to give up? That is the problem with peanut butter. Peanut butter is so calorically dense that it's really easy to eat like 1,000 calories of peanut butter and not realize it. Oh, you don't know when to give up in general? Like you don't know when to cut your losses? That's good and bad. Like one of the most, I think the reason why, like you see, I think the reason why you see 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds like doing crazy things is because they don't have a concept of that they're not supposed to be able to do it. And I think not knowing when to cut your losses is kind of like on that spectrum somewhere. Pearl, that's pretty late if you're going to wake up at a normal time. Is it like a doom scrolling thing? Because I get caught up in that too. Doom scrolling is very, I don't know, maybe that's like one of the most common things that people do these days in terms of kind of losing time unexpectedly. Oh, you always wake up late. So Hank Green did a video about this the other day. You might just have a later, like, sleep, diurnal, nocturnal, whatever the word is. Like, you might just have a later sleep cycle. It might be 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. or whatever it is for you. I sometimes worry about that. And it doesn't mean it's going to stay the same your entire life. Like, research has shown teenagers, for example, they like sleep in later, and that's like a natural thing that a ton of teenagers go through. It's not just a bit on a TV show. Kristen made some notifications, maybe in the Discord or something. That's funny. That is pretty funny. 4 to 10 gang. Yeah, it's tough if you don't have blackout curtains because I'm very light sensitive. I woke up, I forgot to put my blinds down in my bedroom the other day, and I woke up at 5:30 because that was when the sun, when morning nautical twilight started. Y'all know about morning and evening nautical twilight? Morning nautical twilight started, and the sun came. It's the time of year where it comes in through the window exactly right to hit me on my face at 5:30. And I just could not sleep anymore. And I had stayed up till 2, so I was very tired. That was a 3-hour sleep day. Yeah, Owls versus Larks. But anyway, the Hank Green video is pretty good. He kind of talks about how in some phases of his life, he was very much like the 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. In other phases, he was a little bit earlier. And obviously, society isn't designed around that person. It's designed around the 9-to-5 capitalism structure, which, I get. But it also kind of sucks. Do y'all live places where stuff is only open 9 to 5? I've been in towns like that before, and it's miserable. Game over. Womp womp. All right, we'll see if Kristen holds good to the 15-minute timeline. I think so. She's got about 5 more minutes till she busts her time hack. Do y'all know, is time hack a word people use, or is that just an army thing? I'm unsure. I have all these words that I got from the army, but I don't think I realized were just from the army. Hey, Kristen. Kristen's in the lobby and now on the screen. Welcome back. Well,
hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh. Can't believe this happened. On the Habit episode 2 is the worst.
It's a good conversation. Oh,
Good
also
social commentary.
I forgot that we got to change our names too. What are you going to be today?
Oh, I changed it to habitually late.
Funny. I decided that I came up. Actually, I don't know if this is real, but I think that there should be a metal band where they dress up as nuns, and it's called Bad Habit.
Oh, that's really good.
Right? Like, somebody's made that joke before, but if it doesn't exist, it should.
Okay. Hey, Chimo. Hey, Isis, and I want Frog9 and everybody.
We had a bunch more people on, but when they saw you weren't here, they left. So I couldn't keep them entertained.
Yeah, right. Hey, Pearl. Oh,
You know it's not staged because the lava lamp is so cold.
exactly. Oh, yeah, right before I came on, I was like, oh, whoop. I got to turn that back on. And yes, Yappadoodle morning.
Yeah, indeed. Well,
yes.
indeed.
Yes, definitely no wahala. I'm still here.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Were you like dead asleep when I called?
Yes.
What woke you up? The Telegram or on?
The Telegram call.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I can never prove this. And also, this happened last time. Remember, I went through a whole fiasco of getting a real alarm clock, and then I
Yeah.
returned it as I was like, no, I
Right.
don't need this.
And the narrator's like, "Au contraire."
Exactly. Ah,
Oh,
ooh.
Aces, you want more of the energy drink intro? This is the Huel energy drinks. This is probably the closest to full lizard person I get. Is I drink like Huel energy drinks. This is like an electrolyte drink with caffeine, not like a true energy drink. And then I drink the Huel shakes too, because they have
Mhm.
good macros and I'm a lot of things, but extremely lazy about food preparation is a big one. And so having like pre-made shakes is the only way that I'm going to get any of the nutrients that I need to get, especially because I have like a white trash palate.
Well, remember when I asked you what's the one like chow meal you could have every single day?
Oh yeah, dog food. Yeah.
No, it was chicken tendies, green beans, and mashed potatoes or something. And then
Yes.
I used my new VO3 subscription to make a video, a deep fake video of you cooking the meal,
Yeah.
as one does.
You can tell it's a deep fake because I would never cook like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also like self-inserted into the scene, and and we both decided that was extremely horrifying, and we're not losing our jobs quite yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Taurine. Actually, let me check. I don't know if this is taurine. I don't think so.
Oh, I want to show you something. Be right back. I'm gonna disappear again.
Okay. Kristen's never coming back, y'all. No taurine in this one. I got some pre-workout that has taurine in it though. I like the taurine and like the skin tingliness when I'm doing workouts, not post, just because I just sweat in the chair. The taste is fine. I don't really smell the energy drinks. I just kind of like down it, you know? Pearl, are you familiar with our lizard person lore? All right, Kristen. Oh, you got your dragonfly.
Say the lizard person lore.
Oh, basically everybody in charge of anything important is secretly a lizard person, and they wear a skin suit on top of it, and that's canon.
Oh, right, right, right. But then, but when we talk about it, we say the opposite. We say, "Oh, it's time to put my lizard skin suit on," and we
Yeah,
have to be a
true.
lizard. Like, why are we the inverse?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we Kristen and I have both interacted with a ton of people, a lot in tech, but also just business in general. Some people just kind of think in like a super transactional way. We use lizard person as a shorthand for when you're interacting with somebody who's extremely transactional. Sometimes it's helpful. Most of the time, it's kind of creepy. It's never like, I don't think it's like the best way to live your life, but you inevitably come across people that you got to interact with like that. And so a lot of them have health protocols, which is really Kristen's field of expertise. Do you want to talk about health protocols for a second, Kristen? We are talking about habits.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Well, one of the reasons why I guess I didn't wake up was because last night I was building a newsletter for Reframe, which is where we explore personal health protocols using
Hell yeah.
a lot of now we have AI helping us with designing our health protocols.
Oh,
But I
true.
wanted to give everyone a taste through a newsletter. And yeah, I stayed up late designing it, and I guess that made me not wake up. It's called Viral Coefficient, and I'll be dropping the link to sign up on Farcaster and Discord soon. And
That's fun.
yeah, so
Uh,
it's called that name somewhat ironically because I want it to be about spreading healthy optimism, kind of like infecting you with positive news in biotech. That's like vetted and stuff.
Did we ever look up what the actual variable for viral coefficient is?
Ooh, I actually have not. I hope it's a
I
fun
think
letter.
it's K, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, okay.
So about to
That's
say,
thank you. I will incorporate that into the logo design.
yeah, you got to hide a bunch of K's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Either more or less than 3, but
Mhm.
a ton, like the
Yeah. Oh, and I annoyed Keckers too. For
Oh,
those of you
true.
who know her, because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, see where she gets her news, and then I'm gonna like, filter out
Front
little,
run.
like, do like a Keckers like newsletter.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
okay, I doubly insulted her because and then I was like looking through her sources, and I was like, yeah, but I wouldn't share exactly the stuff she shares actually. Um, because I tend to pick out the ones where you can do something about it, or like there's gonna be treatment available, like
Yeah, yeah.
a little bit more like on the toxic
Action
positivity
oriented.
side. um, so
Sorry, I interrupted. Did you say toxic positivity?
yeah, yeah, as a joke. Compared to Keckers, I am toxically positive. That is true though.
That's not true. There are things that are inside your control, and there are things that
Mhm,
aren't, and
mhm.
sitting in misery isn't a helpful thing to do.
Right, right. And it's not the newsletter I've designed it to be not toxically positive, because what I do is I also run through an AI that will categorize it according to how far is it actually along the market. So like, as you
Oh,
know,
that's
like
cool.
there's news about like we cured cancer like every 5 seconds, right? And
Yeah,
it's
and it's like
because
one
telling
trial
you
or
like my
something.
studies, yeah, or stuff like that. It's too like, early stages. So the difference with this newsletter and compared to the other ones is that it tells you plainly in the rating system, like 1 through 5, happy faces, like, how far along is it? Like, is this just like preclinical stuff, or is this stuff that's already on the market? And so you can see at a glance, like what's the appropriate level of optimism you should have for each item.
And that's funny. The appropriate level of optimism. I get it. I get it. I get it. That's
Yeah,
fun.
because you want realistic. You don't want like toxic positivity where everything is yay. I don't. I do think that's too much, and I can see how like people like hackers will be like, "What the heck? This is like way exaggerated." So
Yeah.
instead, it's like like dialed in optimism,
Yeah.
so that you feel happy for the right amount. But yeah, I hope that it will be viral in itself, and the name's a bit of a hope for the newsletter too.
Nice. That's exciting. I had no idea. You were
Well,
too
you
busy
remember
working
you
on.
encouraged me to start a beehive.
I did. I did indeed.
Hmm.
Because we want to accrue things, which is
Yes.
actually very related to the book we're talking about today,
Oh, you have
Atomic
a copy.
Habits. You don't
Yay,
have your
I actually
copy?
don't have a physical copy of the book.
What?
Yeah,
When did you read it last?
like so many years ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it did not make it into the keep list.
yeah.
If that's a
But
hint.
we both read it. I was looking it up. It came
Mhm.
out in 2018, and I thought it'd been around a lot longer than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds about right to me.
Well, so for me, since it came out in 2018, that
Hmm.
was right when I was getting out of the army, and
Hmm.
so I think that anything around that time, I just assumed that I was like late to the party on.
Oh, because
And
you were
so,
in another world.
yeah, yeah, I time traveled through my deployment.
Hmm.
But so yeah, we can get more to it in a second. I was just fascinated to find out. Well, so one, this I thought it was like the first one that started all of the productivity habit whatever
Hmm.
books. It's actually like later from the Tiny Habits with BJ
Hmm.
Fogg and all those other ones that came out,
Yeah.
5-10 years earlier. But it's kind of the biggest one
Right.
as
Right.
far as I can tell.
Well, to bring the topic back to myself again,
Yes,
like the reason
please. I interrupted you.
why I woke up late, like not a good excuse at all, was that I wanted to have even more shorter OODA loops. So we talked about OODA
Mm.
loops many episodes ago.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
one thing that my friend Chow and I realized as we were attending Edge Esmeralda, this really awesome conference that happened over a month, was that like with now we can see that everyone with AI is just doing stuff so much faster that each of these OODA loops, the only way to really keep up, if you want to do that, is to make the each OODA loops complete as fast as possible. Also, because you're not getting the feedback needed. For even the AI to improve what you're doing. So like normally I would have like dragged building this newsletter over a week. That's the usual Kristen pace.
Yep.
But then last time I did a heroic effort of like, oh, even though this sucks so much, I'm going to like complete the draft. I'm gonna like send it to like, my two friends and just like close the loop, even though it's not to my usual standard at all, just so that I can now, the moment I finished it, I was like, oh right, I need to improve XYZ, and I couldn't have gotten to that realization unless I completed the whole loop. So it's like the habit now, I feel like the add-on with AI stuff is like, oh, like the perfectionism has to be even lower, because like you need to realize these secondary insights even faster.
So I have some issues with that, but I
Yeah.
want to clarify for anybody that doesn't
Or you
know.
can do the other extreme. Your craft now has to be even longer in order to be different. Yeah.
That's where I'm gonna go. But
Mhm.
so OODA loop, for anybody that is unfamiliar,
I
it
forgot what
is
the
a
ood and the da stand for.
what was that?
And each one stands for a word, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Observe, orient, decide,
oh,
act.
orient.
It is a decision-making framework designed by a guy named Boyd, who is a famous Air Force officer who basically invented modern fighter pilot tactics. He was a teacher at the Air Force's dogfighting school. Very notorious character in military history. One of my favorite things that he said was, "You can either be somebody or do something."
Mhm.
And it was basically a critique of the military promotion structure where if you really want to do something meaningful, you're going to piss off enough people that you won't get promoted to general or whatever. Not everybody agrees with that, but it is something I try to keep in the back of my mind. But so he did all of the math and came up with this linguistic framework, observe, orient, decide, act, OODA loop, which has now been co-opted into a bunch of different fields of like, oh, this is a really good way to deal with fast, complex, like hard decisions, but quick decisions need to be made type ecosystems, which arguably business now is more than business. Like whatever you're trying to do in your life is like in that realm now.
Mhm.
Crazy Frog, you're right. Our backgrounds have been changing a lot the past. Past few.
Subtly. And
My,
Fremont, don't get caught. And okay, baby, I love the duel, but Cameron, I'm crying for more Cameron spirals.
I have okay. So I have a separate channel where I'm gonna kind of do ranty talking head style videos because I got a lot of things that really don't make sense for OK Banger that I'd like to talk about. Life got busy the past few weeks. For example, I finally got rid of that hornet's nest last night, Kristen. I know you were on the edge of your seat about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what? I guess no gasoline was involved.
No, absolutely not. Don't use gasoline to get rid of hornets. I don't know why that needs to be said, but the internet has made that a thing that needs to be said.
Mhm.
No. So basically what I did was you know the wasp spray or like the hornet
Mhm.
spray that goes like 20
Yeah,
feet?
it's almost like hairspray.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like hairspray slash silly string.
Mm.
And so
Silly string.
yeah. The hornet's nest was second story, so I actually couldn't reach it from the ground even with the
Mhm.
spray.
Mhm.
And so I had to get a with my tall stepladder, I was just tall enough to barely get it with the edge of the spray.
Mhm.
I actually wasted a whole bottle missing it, and so I had to go get another one. But
Mhm.
so I got it, killed it, and then kind of did a precarious maneuver of like taking the screen out of one of my windows and leaning out with like a broom and then knocking it off. But
Mhm.
got it off. Hornets aren't going to come back. But I've been doing a lot of chores like that recently the past few weeks, which is why I haven't edited any of our OK Banger videos and also haven't made any more Cameron Spirals videos.
It's okay. I was late for the live episode. I think that erases all that.
True. I told
You
Chad to
also
give you a
did your
hard
yard
time.
work, right?
What was that?
Oh, you also did your yard work.
Yeah. I hope my landlord never sees this, or at least not until we buy the house. But basically, like, they snuck in there. We were supposed to pay for lawn care and using the company that they'd been paying. And it was like $300 a month. And I'm not going to pay $300 for someone to mow my lawn twice.
Mhm.
And so I've been doing that, but we have an inspection because of the house sale is coming up. And I hadn't done the yard work in a little bit. And so I'm like kind of scrambling to get everything to be like, the landlord's not going to notice that we haven't been using their service.
Also, like, well, I mean, no comment, since I really hope the sale goes through.
Me too.
So,
We'll see.
thank you, landlord, for allowing Cameron to purchase the home. And surely everything will be taken care of.
Yeah. And if not, whatever. That's,
Yeah.
a lot of people are in a lot of worse spots.
Well, speaking of bugs, so here's my verdict.
Yes.
So during this weekend where I was completely offline, I clipped these guys onto my little hat. And Yuhan thought it was the most ridiculous thing, so I made her clip on a blue one.
Can you put it closer? Because I want to see
Oh.
it in full beauty.
I mean, it's like pretty janky. It looks pretty fake.
I mean, if I'm a
Um,
bug, I'm convinced.
it came like like not even assembled. So like they came in a giant pack. There's like a whole bunch of them. The clips are separate, and also it came with pliers, so you can like adjust how long you want it to stick out, which I thought was
It's pretty
nice
thoughtful.
deal, like for $6, including everything. And there were mosquitoes like that day. And here's the thing: I think it does work, but like not like miraculous levels of deterrence. You know, like we met some friends actually at the lake, and then they were also like, "What the heck is going on?" And I said, "Well, it deterred the mosquitoes around this area." So like it's questionable whether the total number of mosquitoes was actually decreased, but they were like not wanting to be near this bizarre thing.
Mm,
So I thought that was new. So I think this works if you are like covered mostly from the neck down and you need to protect your head area.
okay.
Then it does decrease the number that's like buzzing around your head for
Yeah.
like a little bit. But like it's so localized that like the first day I clipped on one and the next day I clipped on two because I was like, oh no, I think they're running to the right side of my face.
So
And
what
then
I'm
I
hearing.
was like, at this point, you're gonna have dragonflies sticking out your knees. Like this is not a reasonable tool to have.
While I do love the image of Christin the dragonfly warrior covered in these like dangly little spring bits, was it just in your head that it was like on one side of your face, or do you genuinely like, oh, this actually pushed them in like a 1 foot diameter around me away?
I feel less itchy on this side that
Okay.
like yeah, there's like so much like placebo effect involved here. But like I feel like in terms of every single mosquito thing I've used, this is on the level of like those scented pads. Have you used
Sure.
those in the military? Yeah, the ones that are like mosquito coils essentially, but like battery operated. Like
Got it.
it works like I would combine this with those things and then also put a mosquito net. Like it's all going to be additive.
So, as a neuroscience PhD, what is your stance on lathering yourself with high concentrations of DEET?
Well, the fact that it melts plastic is really concerning, isn't it?
Well, I'm tougher than
You
plastic.
don't need a neuroscience to observe that, isn't it strange that you can use it to like clear out your headlights? Did you know you can do that?
No.
Okay, yeah, do not ruin your car based on my tip. I did see another thing on Instagram where, so you know how your headlights get foggy? They just use really concentrated DEET and wiped.
You are the
Cleared it out.
misinformation machine on the internet.
So I pre-warned you, like, do not do this. But people do it because it can melt plastic. I ruined a pair of sunglasses before with the DEET. So I do
Well,
use it though.
okay.
Like when you're desperate, when you're going through trails where there's so much mosquito, it looks like you're in like having a staticky TV, you know? Like you have to put it on. Like there's no choice.
Yeah.
So I use the kind that's more like dry touch, you know, the off with an exclamation mark
Yeah,
brand. Yeah, so it's not as like sticky feeling.
True.
And it feels less bad, even though I'm pretty sure it's pretty bad for you.
Yeah, no, it's not good for you.
Oh, and then like I also use the 100% because I'm like, this is where like I don't know whether it makes a difference, but like you can buy it in different percentages, and like if I am going to have to use it, it's probably so bad that I will use 100%. And I'm pretty sure yes, you're decreasing a lifespan, but hopefully it is like -1 day or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's future Christian's problem. That's how
Yeah.
I live my life.
I mean, did you have to use a lot of it in military?
So, like, a lot of the time you just don't put on bug spray or sunscreen or any of that stuff,
Really?
right?
Oh.
I mean, like, at best, it's just another thing to carry, you know?
Were you
And-
ever in like really buggy places?
Yeah, Fort Benning, Georgia is
Oh.
Bugtown Swamp.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so what I would kind of do is I would get like when it's really bad, the army makes you get all the vaccines for like malaria and stuff. So you're not gonna like die no matter what. Probably you're just gonna have awful nightmares. The but for like bug spray, I would
Mhm.
get, whatever the maximum strength. Like
Mhm.
if it doesn't say this is known to cause cancer in California, I'm not putting it on. Only the cancer stuff for me. The you know that label?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one that indicates there's the good stuff.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. And so what I would do is during the day, I probably don't have anything on.
Mhm.
Because also a lot of the times when you're wearing like camouflage face paint and stuff, that's like a physical clay barrier. So you're not
Mhm.
even really getting bit too much. What I would do is when you're in your little sleep sack at night, like the sleeping bag,
Mhm.
I would spray the perimeter of my bag and
Oh,
especially the
okay.
opening so that I would like,
Yeah.
because the thing about Georgia is there are black widows and brown recluses.
Oof.
All the other spiders, like banana spiders and all that, are scary, but
Mhm.
brown recluses like are terrifying because they're
Mhm.
little tiny things that give you a little tiny bite that you're not going to notice, and then it's going to like kill you or make you
Mhm.
sick.
Mhm.
And so I would use those to just get it there. Faith, thanks for making it to the live. Nabila as well. Man, we got a crew in here today. I love that.
Yeah. I spare a lot of my clothes too. Actually, I forgot to add an asterisk. The 100% D. I try to like wear all clothing all over.
Oh, so you put it on the clothes, not your skin?
Yeah, I minimize. Like some still gets on, but I do try to cover my entire body with clothing and then spray the clothing because of like I don't I'm pretty sure something will come out later to be like, oh JK, it's just like DDT.
I I'm still holding out hope that some of it is going to turn radioactive and make me a superhero.
Oh, so what's your superpower? Did we talk
I
about
already
this
told you
before?
it's handles.
What? I don't remember this.
The best not superpower that you can get
Mm-hmm.
is the ability to make handles appear out of thin
Oh,
air
freaking
whenever you want.
candles!
You remember that?
I do
So
now.
chat, if you weren't here for that stream, we had like, okay, if you could have any superpower, but it couldn't be like one of like the useful ones, like X-ray
Mm-hmm.
vision or flying or teleporting, whatever. Like, what would it be? Mine is handles, because if you can make a handle appear anywhere, you never have to do a sit up again. Like, imagine you're like on the couch, you're like this, and you need to get up, and you just ate a pint of ice cream. It's terrible to do that sit up. It's like, "Ugh."
I feel like the obvious monkey's paw of this wish is very apparent.
But look, you just get the handle, bah, perfect, and then you get jacked arms.
And
It's
then
win
the
win
monkey's
win.
paw is that then you have no core muscles, like because
You don't
using
need them because you got handles.
you would just be all built up here and just like nothing in the middle.
Yes, chicken legs forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's how you get an hourglass figure.
Power.
Perfect V taper, pizza shape.
I think the chat is extremely confused by your handle superpower.
No, they'll catch up. They're not gonna. Okay, so you don't like this superpower when you first hear about it, but next time you're laying down on the couch or you're in a chair or you get on the ground for some reason and you're like, man, it would be really nice to just have a handle right now. You're gonna come around. I promise. Everybody I've ever said it to, they think about it like the next day or the next week, and they come back and they're like, Cameron, yeah, no, you definitely are right. Just like a little handle. Kristen, I wanted to ask you this at the beginning, but you threw off my groove when you didn't show up and abandoned me by the side of the road like a box of kittens. What is your worst habit?
Like now I'm like, well, obviously not showing up for the show, but
Yeah, for real.
I would say maybe this is related to last night. I think I tend to not want to do a certain kind of work unless I feel I am energized enough. That's what I've noticed, right? Is I'm like, oh, I might make a mistake. I better put this off until I'm more energized.
Okay. So
And then I doom scroll. Like I'm like,
Oh, so
clearly
you
I have
do-
energy
okay.
to doom scroll.
So can we isolate like the habit part of that? Is the habit the negative self-talk of, oh, I'm not in the right headspace to do it, like the fear response, is the bad habit the doom scrolling solution to the problem? Like, what part of
I
it
would
do you
say
con-
the initial cause. I used to think that, oh, it's the doom scrolling or whatever,
Yeah.
but now I trace it back. I'm like, oh, but the first step is usually like, oh, this feeling of, oh, I might mess it up if I do it now, so therefore it's better that I do it when I'm like fully energized. I like how Fremont's teasing me, sleeping too long.
Yeah.
The sad part is I don't think I even got that many hours in. I'm still sleepy, by the way, everybody.
I forget who said this, but there's like a good, I think it's honestly in like the manosphere influencer type thing, but it's basically like just do it tired,
Yeah.
which
It
sucks.
seems like a very Jocko thing to say.
Yeah, like it's too. I mean, honestly, it's too coherent to be like a Jocko. Like theirs is just like good, right?
How about you?
Stay hard. I said it earlier. It's I think energy drinks is like my worst, most consistent habit that will kill me sooner than I think I would like. In terms of lifestyle
Oh.
habits, I think my worst habit, which is also kind of maybe my best long-term habit, but my worst micro habit is assuming that assuming a thing is going to work with no preparation. And what
Is
I
that a
mean,
bad habit? I feel
so
like that's a great habit.
so I what I mean by that is, oh, I'll wake up at 6:30 tomorrow, but it's 2 a.m. And so like sometimes I do. 70% of the time it's 7 o'clock and I'm like, I'm gonna sleep for a little bit longer. And but I had made my whole day around the assumption that it was gonna work out, that I was gonna get up at 7. And so I kind of like, maybe the bad habit isn't that, it's the letting it cascade into
Yeah,
additional
yeah.
mistakes.
If I have to name your bad habit, it'll be that.
But so that's why habits are hard, right? Because especially if you're a person who is a recovering perfectionist, you want the conditions to be perfect, like you're talking about.
Don't we have the same mega bad habit? Like both like me not wanting to do things when I'm tired, plus your energy drinks, plus this cascading thing, all is one same bad habit
What is that?
of there must be a certain mind state for things to be achieved. Because you're using energy drinks to pump yourself up, to feel energized to do the thing.
No, I use energy drinks to feel normal.
Which is like, not tired or whatever it is.
I mean, I'm still tired when I drink them. I'm just like vibrating.
What the heck?
Yeah, no, it doesn't solve tiredness for me. It's like I don't know, it's like a comfort cigarette kind of thing, but I fortunately never I fortunately don't smoke.
So what happens if you don't have access to energy drinks? That you crash out? Is that what happens?
I don't know, I just feel off.
Oh. Okay.
But we talked about that. Like, I think energy drink is closer to like a PTSD response than it is, because like the like feeling of ambient anxiety is part of your normal for so long that you got to like inject it into your life with energy drinks as like a way to to deal with that.
I was gonna make the quip that don't worry, you have plenty of ambient anxiety.
That's true, I do. Got plenty of that in my backpack. What do you
Okay.
think your best habit is, though?
Oh, I'm trying to think what someone else would say about me.
Why? What do you think? Well, we've talked about Johari windows before, right?
Oh, explain what that is to me again.
The Johari
My
window.
other bad habit is not remembering things. Go on.
That's not a bad habit. That's being a person.
Oh, okay. Details
Johari.
about the show.
Actually, let me revise my bad habit. My bad habit is immediately forgetting somebody's name after they tell it to me. I can remember a face after a decade. I can't remember a name after 10 seconds. 5, really. And it's not that I don't care. It's that...
I hope you remember my name now.
Yeah, it's Megan, right? No, it's written on the screen. That's what helps.
Oh, that helps.
No, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, Crazy Frog said Cameron would absolutely love cat. Chat, I think is how you say it.
What is that?
It's like a leaf people chew that's like a stimulant.
Oh, yeah. Is it like betel nuts?
I'm not sure if it's related or not.
Okay.
I saw it on an episode of Fearless and Far YouTube.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I've chewed on many a leaf in the woods, so I'm a big fan of that.
Um, so
Oh,
in
Johari window. We were talking about
yeah.
that. Johari window is a psychology concept, classic 2x2, and it's a window of your like how you see yourself, how others see you, and it's basically like what you see in yourself, what you don't see in yourself, what others see in you, what others don't see in you. And so like you can't really know. Actually, I think I messed that up, but it's something in that realm of basically there's a known self and there's an unknown self, and then there's something about you that is known to other people, and there's stuff that's unknown about you to other people. And so you are trying to express what other people would see in you, but I care more about what Kristen sees in herself.
Oh, thank you. I actually Hank Moody from the Live the Same channel had asked me a similar question, which will be posted soon, and I said generosity. I would say that's the virtue I work on the most. Like I try to take my time to think about other people. And it's pretty reflexive. It's not like I'm a good person who thinks about other people. It just like pops up by itself, and I just happen to be here.
If I poke for a second, is that generosity something that you are proud of or feel compelled to do? Or both? Or neither?
I feel like I notice when I withdraw from it. That's why it's a virtue I work on. And actually in the same interview, he actually asked like a very like poignant question of like, okay, then what's your greatest defect? Like right there in the interview. And I said, oh yeah, I noticed that when I feel like threatened in some way, then bye generosity. Like,
I mean, like not panic, but a defense response of protecting yourself makes a lot of sense based on some of our conversations that we've had.
yeah, exactly. So I think it's like dialing that in, right? Because I feel like it's a very sensitive mechanism,
Yeah.
especially with people I care a lot about.
Oh, we talk about this
They
a
held
ton.
to high standards.
The problem is takers recognize givers. They're very good at that. And so a taker finds a giver and lets them keep giving them stuff and being generous and giving away pieces of themselves because it benefits them and they don't have to do anything to get it. And so retracting that might feel bad, but it's probably rational.
How about you?
My best habit? I think my best habit is that I always believe I can affect change.
That's the same as the worst habit.
Yes. Well, slightly different. Because so we moved the worst habit to being the cascading piece.
Oh, right.
But even so, affecting, like assuming you can affect change exists in a context. And if you have that like mediocre white man confidence without any evidence towards it, like that does kind of make it a bad habit. I would say like the asterisks in the believing I can affect change is when I take the steps that like I actually believe are needed to in order to affect change, I believe I can do it. It's not like I'm going to show up and be able to be the best at any new thing.
So I have so many questions, right? Because why can't this override the cascading thing?
I mean, because I'm a person with variable energy and
See, it comes back to the energy again.
well, so I think energy is always a factor, but it doesn't have to be the thing that stops you from certain things, right? Like the energy is less about, oh, I need the right headspace to do this thing. It's decision fatigue is a real thing. And so when you make 100 decisions, the 101st one is harder to make. And so it's like we're kind of talking about different points on the energy spectrum, different timbres or like different flavors of energy. And I also think that like at the end of a long day, it is healthy and normal and reasonable to be tired as opposed to like, oh, I've just started my day, but I don't feel the right vibe. But maybe I also want to push back against that too. And I still
Mhm.
want to push back against your original thing that you had said way, way
Much
back.
pushing back. This entire show is just a bunch of pushbacks.
Yeah. The yeah, Asus, you're talking about discipline. I stopped caring about energy when one of my friends told me that he makes himself do stuff. That's just discipline. I'm doing something when you don't feel like doing
But
it.
I like how he's like, he'd wake up, have a smoke, drink a Coke, and be more productive than me for weeks on end.
Yeah, he is doing it tired, and I respect that. And that is ultimately what lets you accrue things
Mhm.
related to our book. And I got a couple things that I do want to actually get into so that we can
Okay.
craft together a video about it today. But
Yes.
you had said about doing stuff faster, and how at the conference you saw that everybody was doing stuff faster, and so you felt compelled to do your own stuff faster, which in some ways I really agree with. In other ways, I want to be more deliberate with how we frame that,
Mhm.
because if all we do is make stuff faster, we're like making the fast fashion version of ideas, and throwaway culture just like proliferates. And there are some things that we had an excuse to do, like take longer to do, that we don't really have that excuse anymore. But I don't think that makes it like spending time on something doesn't have to be a bad thing. And so can you talk more about that?
Well, you talk more about it. You just proposed the entire hypothesis. I mean, I have stuff to say, but I want to hear your take.
I mean, I think there are certain things that we can do a lot faster with AI right now.
Mhm.
Some
Mhm.
of it is gross. Like we can generate a Studio Ghibli image of anything now. And so a pessimistic view would be like, nobody needs to learn how to do art ever again, because now we can, poop
Mhm.
out like derivative art that the artist doesn't get paid for. I don't think that's a compelling take, but it is factually accurate that we can do this specific thing much faster than we could before.
Mhm.
That isn't what you're saying, I don't think, but I think somebody could interpret it as that, is where you have to just kind of like flail and do everything as fast as you can because the internet's getting faster and more volatile and all these things are happening. And so I kind of view it as, we don't have to memorize, like we don't have to have books full of calculation tables anymore, because the calculators let us do multiplication, and we don't need the books of multiplication tables that we did previously,
Mhm.
because we didn't have calculators. But that doesn't mean math isn't important, and it doesn't mean figuring out the right problem to solve is less important than it was before. Like replacing intentionality with doing more things can help in certain circumstances, but it is also very convenient for capital holders for everybody to just flail and do a bunch of stuff, and then they sit back and wait for people to figure out what's valuable and then just swoop in.
Right. So here's an example, right? So there were a lot of artists at the conference I was at, and they use like Midjourney and other sorts of AI tooling, right?
Mhm.
But like they add their craft on top of it. Like they once they generate an image, they're like hand painting, adjusting the lighting, and doing a
Yep.
lot of things that like they can see, but we can't quite name.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I can see like the calculator example. It's like, oh, the now the art has become the next new level that's discoverable now that you have this new baseline tooling." And then they're
Yep.
making AI agents that are like customized to their art styles, and it's like now it's like combining coding with design.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're talking about is the expression of your taste
Mhm.
is in some ways a lot easier than ever before.
Mhm.
As Chad is pointing out, it is also easier to show off your lack of taste, like
Yeah.
more so than ever before. And so
Yes.
when somebody puts something out that they don't have an opinion,
Mhm.
but they like put out a picture or whatever, it shows,
Mhm.
because they've done nothing to meaningfully transform the mid output that everybody else on the planet can also generate with no effort.
Yeah. Maybe now like the second O in Uda orient needs to be more like orient to your taste or something that is a little bit more specific. Or else, yeah, the issue is that if you're just orienting to what everyone else is doing in this like vicious like flailing loop, then that isn't better.
I'll be pedantic and say that if you were orienting that way anyway, you would have been killed by the other fighter pilot. but
Oh, right.
because like in the context
Tools
of
are failing.
yeah, like baked in there, the people who are good and were working hard and have taste are better than they were before because they can have more, reps. They don't have to spend so much time doing the boring stuff. But that, like, when everybody can be insta mid at a new thing, which is what AI fundamentally does, you do raise the bar required for something to be considered good by people that actually know what they're talking about. Now, the doomer part of me is the doomer part of me is saying most people don't have taste. So that means you can kind of fill up the entire field with slop, and most people can't tell the difference. I hope that that's like a temporary thing, because we have seen time and again through different kinds of media, even as stuff got faster and faster, people will watch slop, but they know when something is a better version of the slop that they're watching, and over time they gravitate towards it. If they don't, I think we have bigger problems. Like art and creative culture has never really worked in a meaningful way for most people that were doing it, unfortunately, like economically. Maybe we're just entering another phase where that isn't changing at all, and we're removing some of the jobs that allowed people to create stuff on the side, like animator and stuff like that, which sucks. I don't know,
Well, I
though.
would say like the jobs are changing because now I'm also seeing these artists, like now that they have access to vibe coding tools and like the sort of thing, they are the ones who are making these like games and things like that. So it's like I feel like the it's almost like the rise of the Renaissance / generalist type of person who knows how to use a wide array of tools to make stuff rather than specialists.
Are we really seeing that, or are we seeing a couple people that have done that?
A couple of people.
Yeah. So
But it's like, clamoring to be that couple of person.
yeah. I don't know.
Can I ask you a question related to the book? Oh,
Yes, please. I mean, I got a brain dump of stuff, and I want to give a quick summary of the book again, so that I can clip it.
Please do.
The book Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is the book. This is the habit productivity book. There are many others like it, but this one is the one that I think has really won the habit culture war over the past like 7 years, because it came out in 2018. It's inspired by previous books. He references other authors in there, like B.J. Fogg, of books that he read, and then kind of like transformed all of them and synthesized all these different ideas. I'll just do a brain dump of the ideas that we got in there. We got the 2-minute rule. We got 1% every day. We got don't mix context, habit shaping, every action is a vote for identity, habits, like all of those things are what kind of proliferate through productivity guru culture land. And this book has all of them in very lean slices. I don't think there's an ounce of fat on this book, which is why I like it.
Yes, and it came out around the same time as a few other habit books.
Yes.
That espouse similar ideas, but James Clear's version was the clearest, I think, and the most well marketed.
Yeah, for sure. And he also had the strategy of building his newsletter as he went. So he's continually
OG newsletter guy.
Yeah, he's cementing his name as a very succinct, focused habit, productivity, meditation, reflective, like guru dude.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his 321 newsletter, once a week, every Thursday. It's a very short email. It's one of the few that I haven't unsubscribed from. And it's like 3 ideas, or like three ideas, 2 quotes, and 1 question, which is basically kind of a reflection on like, what habit are you doing that isn't serving you? And like, not rocket science, but a good reminder that isn't like all these other newsletters that I've followed for a while. They all bloat every once in a while because they keep adding on parts. This just does what it's supposed to do, which I appreciate. The other kind of like, you don't really need to read this book, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
You just kind of got to take away the 2 main ideas, right? We talked about the OODA loop. Everybody that does anything productivity related creates their own version of the loop. His habit loop is pretty straightforward. It's cue, craving, response, reward. That is kind of like the science of how habits work. I think the rules of the book, which are like the sections of the book, follow from that loop cycle where
Mhm.
it's also very clear. It's like, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. You take the 4 pieces of the habit loop, you apply this like rule to each of those, and then afterwards, maybe you get better habits. I really like that it makes it simple and straightforward. He says throughout the book he makes it easy. I disagree with that. Changing habits is never easy, but it is simple in the framing that he's putting it there.
Mhm.
Take a breath. That's like the nuts and bolts of the book. Do you agree, disagree? Like, what do you find useful? What's your like gut reaction to remembering this book? Because we're like doing this because this is something
Mhm.
that we haven't talked about in a little while, and we both are in a period of life where we need better habits to do the stuff we want to do.
Oh, for sure. I would say the most important point I remember without using ChatGPT to remind myself was the whole identity change as a agent of change concept, and how like one of his tips is that if you want to be making art every day, you can use the identity of an artist in order to promote yourself to do stuff, right? So one question I have for you is like, have you ever noticed that when you identify as a certain archetype, then you tend to do more of that stuff?
Can you explain a little bit more about the action identity kind of cycle before I get into that? Or like, what is the concept?
So he says that like lasting change comes from like updating your identity rather than a discipline of like or like the tactics of these like habit change sort of scenarios. So like we can of course like be like, oh, I want to be an artist, I'm gonna like make it easy for myself, and all those things need to can occur. But ultimately, if you don't think of yourself as an artist, then you won't be able to keep up the habit that matches how you perceive yourself.
Yeah.
So
It's
right.
basically don't talk about it, be about it in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I found that super helpful when I first read the book, because I feel like maybe 2018, what was I doing? I was probably in a marketing agency or something like that.
True.
Um, and I remember thinking like that was an awkward moment in my life because I wasn't really a practicing scientist anymore, and I was much more of a marketer.
Big
And
loss of identity there.
yeah, and I think maybe that was also around when I got laid off or something. So there was a there was a stripping of identity that happened.
Yeah.
So then I really noticed that yeah, if you don't know who you are, then it's really hard to decide what to do next. On the other hand, from
Yeah.
a Buddhist perspective, it's like, oh, but you don't want to like over cling to who you are, because now you're also trapping yourself in terms of what you think you can and cannot do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely in the midst of that struggle right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Wanderlust Mom, thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Frame on see ya. The like the identity piece is really important. It's also tied to extremism. We've talked about this before, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
fanaticism piece. If you think of yourself as one thing and you kind of flatten your multivariate complex personality into one or two small identities,
Mm-hmm.
your world shrinks dramatically. You can use that in your favor of like, if you are nothing but an artist, like you're going to make a lot of art. And so that's good. But sometimes it's at the expense of other things. And that's kind of like how religious fundamentalism creates extremists. But the identity piece for habits is really important, especially if you're trying to do new habits,
Mm-hmm.
because until you think of yourself as this thing, or at least like try to and try to make that part of your rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
you end up fighting against those habits because of basically soft imposter syndrome, maybe hard imposter syndrome, because you're like, why am I writing this song? I'm not a musician. Even if you don't say that to yourself, that's like what your body is somatically feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. I deal with this a lot where, I've written poetry for, 10, 15 years at this point, and for most of that I didn't consider myself a poet because it comes with other baggage with it, right? It other people
You're
have
not
perspective.
smoking enough cloves.
No, I, I, I mean, it's basically just like other people have preloaded opinions about the nouns you use to describe yourself with, right?
Mhm.
And so when you're
Right.
communicating something with whatever descriptor you give yourself.
Mhm.
Sometimes your ego is ready for that, sometimes it's not.
Mhm.
Sometimes like you don't feel like it's worth your while. But I actually think that's why all creative all creative work more or less comes back to this idea of be truly yourself,
Mhm.
because if you let other people shape how you're judging yourself, you end up living in dissonance with what you actually want to be doing, and that's maybe,
So,
that's like a prison.
to make this into a useful question, how can we adopt labels even though I think part like both of us use certain labels like poet or like startup founder and maybe like yeah, but I feel a certain type of discomfort because of all the associations and not because of who I am. But
Can
because
you
like
ask the
by
question again?
definition, in order to identify ourselves, we do need to flatten, right? And I feel like that's if I can be more comfortable with like strategic flattening,
So okay,
then I can use labels to my advantage more.
there's a couple things in there.
Mhm.
One that I would like to split is your opinion of yourself and your marketing of yourself. Because if
Yeah.
you connect the two things, that's tough. Because if you live in the marketing version of
Mhm.
yourself, I think
Mhm.
you're fundamentally defined by how other people view you. And
Right.
that doesn't work on like a long time scale. You basically end up in best case a crazy ego narcissism jail. Best case.
Mhm.
And mostly you're just miserable because it's really hard to market anything. I think like what I'm trying to do is one, explicitly separate those two things, because like right now I am working on what a reasonable person could call too many things. But I'm not working on all of them the same, but I'm working on all of them so that I feel like I can, when it's like time to pick up a specific label,
Mhm.
I can wear that label for the moments that I want to, and all of the infrastructure is there for me to like lean into that. And it's a little bit of a prove to myself that I'm actually not just talking about it, I'm being about it. And so a couple of those labels: software engineer, poet, musician, writer, podcaster. Too many things to do all of them well at once, but I'm like in the process of making the infrastructure so that when I want to spend like a chapter of my life working on those things, it's already there and I don't need to do any of the startup work. Is that optimal? No, because I'm splitting my brain across a bunch of different things. But I think for my sense of self as a person that is doing multiple different things, it's really important. The marketing aspect of it is I need to create a digital existence that only shows the part of it that is important at that time. Which is actually one of the things that we were talking about, the one of the software projects that I'm designing right now that will help me do that. But we'll talk maybe more about that on a different show. But yeah,
So
so like I think that's how I'm dealing with that problem.
what you're talking about, it touches on the whole like make it attractive situation,
That's
right?
true.
I feel
That
like
is true.
that's the hidden hard part of the entire book. It's like, well, no, duh, if I know how to make it attractive, then I can do anything. And in reality, many goals we want to accomplish has parts that we don't find inherently attractive. And I feel like you kind of like solve that by having multiple things, because in a way that allows one to jump from project to project as the energy and the desire arises.
I
Is that
think
what you're
it's
trying to
the
solve for?
I actually think it's the make it easy part. I don't think it's the make it attractive, because all of those are
Oh,
attractive to me already.
okay, okay.
Like the making it easy part is like I have this thing, I don't know what causes it, but basically small friction can really like fully derail a train that I very much want to be on.
Mhm.
Whether it's getting laundry out of the dryer and it just sits there for 4 days, or it's, the messy desk that I have in front of me that I like haven't cleaned. And as a result, I don't go through my to-do list because it's under the messy pile, or I don't like
Mhm.
open the mail because there's like, it's like actually taking it out of the package is the problem for me. So the
Should we
making it
add a mantra? Maybe it's not just do it tired. Maybe it's do it messy.
That makes me want to throw up.
Why?
Well, first of all, because I am doing it messy, right? Like actually, I'll sneak preview for, or actually a sneak announcement for any OK Banger viewers. My new poetry website is up and ready. There's like a couple percent more things that I need to do to get it fully done, but it's up and it is bingeable. It's mobile friendly, which is what I optimized mostly for, but it does look different on desktop. Littlefeelings.com. If you got a spare 5 minutes, check it out later today and let me know what you think. I think that's one of the things where I did it a lot faster because of like AI helping me code some certain parts of it, but I did it faster and the extra speed that I could do it with, I did it with more craft because I could do more with the tool, not like just put it up there. And so it's like balanced between it's like a balance between the craft piece of it and the speed piece of it. I mean, I do think we just generally need to be faster though.
Yeah. So that's littlefeelings with an s.com, right?
Correct. I'll drop the link in the Discord after the show.
Yeah. I think you might have already done it, but it might be
Yeah,
buried.
I've done it previously, but not with the new version. Maybe we answer this chat question. Can you change your habits just by taking supplements? No, there's plenty of steroid users that are fat as hell. And they just don't lift, but they take the steroids. It's stupid.
Well, the GLP-1 users supposedly do break some habitual cycles, though. But that's because that particular drug is somehow affecting the reward pathway.
Yeah, but the later question, is somebody to blame for their habits? Yes and no. Like addiction is a chemical process that you have, and some people have a proclivity for it and other people don't, right? And so just like kind of intelligence, just like emotional intelligence, just like all of these different like physical strength, every person lives somewhere on a continuum for all these different traits. Does that mean somebody's not responsible for their own body? You know, kind of case by case dependent. I don't think somebody is absolved from the negative externalities that they create as a result of living in the body that they live in. But I do think it is important context about like why something is happening.
So what is one thing that you've changed to make starting a creative task easier?
So with the poetry example, I have basically built a way for me to record things in the way that is the most conducive for me to record things, where typically my writing process is I'm in a moment where either I'm on a walk or I'm in an Uber or I have like a pause, right? And so I start thinking about something. I record it ideally on paper, but sometimes in like Apple Notes. And then I take it from those notes. And now the only step between my notes and it existing is updating a couple lines of code in my website. I don't have to deal with, you know, like a bulkier database kind of thing. I don't got to fill out a form. I just directly input it into the code, maybe do a little bit of editing as I'm doing it. But like that's as lightweight as I have found to work for me to putting out things that I'm proud of and I like. And there's already a category system on the website. There's all of the formatting and all that is figured out with code. And so for me, making it easy is just taking it from a piece of paper into a published product in, you know, like a couple keystrokes and pushing to main.
Very nice. Can I share with you like my latest also make it easy habit?
Please.
So this weekend I was hiking and again it was offline. There's no internet.
Kristen just left for 2 days and didn't tell me. So I was just messaging her all Saturday and she was getting nothing.
Actually,
I was
you're
very
right.
sad.
I didn't even tell you that I was going to be offline. And one of my biggest issues with all sorts of tooling is that, oh man, most things apps don't really work offline. But what I've discovered is that voice memo in the iOS still works offline and does offline transcripts.
Dope.
So what I do now is like whenever I have a to-do list item, I tell myself you just have to ramble about it for 10 minutes and then I end up with this voice memo with the transcript. Then I can dump it into like, you know, Claude Opus or ChatGPT-o3 and then construct anything I want from my voice ramble. So I really like overcome a lot of places where I get stuck before just through this one habit. Because I noticed that I am like maybe through the show, like it's a lot easier for me to think out loud than it is for me to like actually type it out now. So this one habit change is allowing me to get a lot more stuff done.
Yeah, there's writing purists that don't like speech to text. I was one for a long time, and I still don't have a good recording workflow because I don't like holding my phone. But I do think that it is the best way to get like a volume. Like
It
sculptors,
depends. I think it depends. Some people just think faster with typing or writing, and some people think faster with speaking.
I don't think anybody thinks faster typing than speaking. No way.
And what if someone's not really like talkative and stuff? This person exists. I
Yeah,
know
but like
out there.
the throughput of the signal of your voice is so much higher than typing. You can type like the best typists in the world are what, like 120 words per minute? Actually, let's look it up.
Yeah, but some people are not thinking through speaking. I think there are specific neural pathways for how you express yourself in these different modalities. So if I like, try to write about the same topic by speaking, by typing, by handwriting, 3 different outputs will come out. And actually I have this like app idea that I would not do because of the Buffett top 5. It's like, what if you have a thing where you can combine all 3 and you get the best version of whatever you're thinking about?
No one will do that.
A lot of my app ideas are killed by Cameron when he points out that they're all very laborious.
Well, like Kristen's like other one was, hey, let's get everyone else to buy a new specific device to track, their heart rate during their to-do list.
No, it was skin conductance. It was stress levels. And then the to-do list will arrange the items according to what you're most stressed about. So you have to do the item. And then Cameron was like, this is horrible.
No one's gonna take a polygraph every time that they need to take out the trash.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, Jacob had the same feedback when I was trying to design actually a mini app. And then I was like, oh, I should incentivize with like tokens this task because it's so hard to do. So it should be rewarded. And he was like, no, you're thinking about it backwards. Like you're supposed to incentivize what people already want to do. And I was like, oh yeah. Like no one, like all my ideas have this like predication upon like, oh, you're going to do the hard thing first.
Yeah. I mean, there's maybe, the right chat is popping up. Like, maybe there is a space for an Eat the Frog type app, right?
Yeah, but it definitely will not have a good time distributing itself.
It is niche. It is not. It is not a mass market thing.
Yeah. Issa says I struggle to structure my thoughts while speaking versus typing, especially with Markdown at JSON, makes it so easy to structure what I want. Yeah, I also think that because speaking something means I can't rearrange my thoughts like while I'm trying to do it. So it forces me to just get the thought down first, then rearrange it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reason why I am defending speech to text, even though I kind of hate it, is the reality is speech to text makes you do more reps faster.
Right.
And,
We're back to that.
like the sneaky argument is actually reps are the thing that makes your writing good, not actually like you processing it and typing it, right? Because like even if you structure it perfectly the first time you type it, you're going to edit it again. And so it's better to just fix it in the edit because looking at it 3 times is like over time going to be more useful for you than looking at it like 1 time plus edit via typing. I don't know how strongly I feel about that, but I feel like some type of way about it, I think.
Yeah. So what about systems over goals? So we kind of touched upon that.
Sorry, I got nerd sniped by chat saying speed doesn't always mean better. Speed is one of the characteristics of the offense. Surprise, concentration, audacity, tempo. So speed is very important.
It sounds like a Fort Minor rap.
What? Oh, like, sorry, that's like a Linkin Park adjacent, right?
Yeah. Oh, did you ever listen to any Fort Minor?
I think so. That's the 1% luck, 20% skill, 40% concentrated power of will type thing.
Yeah. Very good.
Or 20% luck, I,
I don't remember the
now
percentages.
I got to look up the math later, Kristen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, it doesn't add up to 100. It adds up like 200% or something.
Yeah, because
So
you got to
already,
give double your all.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Ask your question. I interrupted you.
Oh, I was changing to another topic in Atomic Habits by James Clear. So he talks about how instead of building goals, or you need to think about systems. And I feel like you have thought a lot about that recently, right? Of building systems
Yeah.
that are suited to your goals. Can you tell us a little bit about your super serendipity system? Or
So
is this it?
littlefeelings.com is phase 0 of Cameron's serendipity super system.
Oh, oops, I rearranged words.
The maybe I'll write like a post on that. But the working theory is that I have energy. It's directed in a myriad of ways at various points in like my day, in like different weeks. It's going to be pointed in different directions. Obviously, you got to make money, and you gotta have resources coming in. I have a little bit saved up, so I got some time to not think about that right now. But the serendipity super system is my way of reducing friction to publishing as low as humanly possible for all of the different things that I want to do. This show, music stuff, the poetry, some writing, and so app development. And so the system part of it is identifying what I want the output to be, like kind of a goal, and then structuring the steps along the way to basically break them down to their atomic units. Because ultimately there are things that are automatable. Some are worth automating now, some are not. But like, if you want to do anything really, really well, you kind of need a repeatable process for it, because you're not going to do it really, really well until the thousandth time. You know what I mean? And so if you want to get to the thousandth time as fast as possible, your system has to be very tight. And so like, I like walked through the poetry one a little bit earlier, but in terms of like music, it's getting all of the accounts set up to public, like where they're gonna go to. It's getting the DAW presets to where I like have different instruments that I like go back to using. It's getting my recording set up, so it's just like plug in my guitar and go. And so all of these things are reducing the micro frictions that would be like, a minute here, 15 minutes there of fiddling around. And the reality is of, seconds and minutes in Q1 turn into hours and days and weeks in Q4. That's kind of like the lizard person way of saying the more you can
I was a
reduce,
little lizardy.
but like I'm very good with the skin suit, but the more you can reduce that friction, the more time you can spend on the thing that you actually care about. And so that's kind of like what I'm thinking about it.
Do you use AI to design these super systems, or is it all just from you?
Yes and no. I know myself well enough to know where I'm going to kind of get stuck. And so I'm still figuring out how to use AI tools to make them better. If you like really break it down and look at the specific things that I'm trying to do, they're not like, AI is not good for it right now.
Yeah.
I think the closest to speeding things up I've come is probably in the app development, like software phase, like one for writing code. Like you can create an MVP that basically does what you're trying to do much faster than you could even 6 months ago. But more interestingly to me, I'm like idea stress testing a bunch of different things that I'm working on. Obviously, there's a bias in there where it's trying to tell you everything you say is a good idea, but you can make it be meaner to you. It's a lot faster to think through all of the business positioning 2x2s that I would have spent, a couple nights doing. I can really get in like 15, 20 minutes. Like this morning, I was like, okay, this company in this space just announced some information about their revenue. What are they doing? Because it can use the internet and see their their PR posts and look at their website. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing well? What are other people kind of saying about them? What are they publishing on their website? Analyze that company from that perspective, Is it as good as like a crazy analyst that spends their entire time in the space? No, but it
Mhm.
is probably like it's a lot better than I'm going to do in an hour or two of work, or at least it's like the equivalent. And so I take that and then I use that against the stuff that I'm thinking about and kind of like tweak, modify, put it head to head. And I just do a bunch of stuff that it would have been me on a sheet of paper kind of writing, and I
Mhm.
get the mid version of it in 30 seconds. And so that I've used maybe 4 or 5 times a week for the past few weeks, which has cumulatively saved me like at least days of work.
Can I tell you the one identity slash like goal that I want you to finish? Because I personally want that
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
thing the most. I want Cameron, the sci-fi author, to finish writing the
Yeah.
awesome book.
Yeah. I got a novella that I've 75.
Novella? I thought it was a novel.
So I got two. I got a novella and then a full
Oh.
novel. Um, the novella I'm going to be able to get out a lot faster because it's a lot more. It's like autobiographical inspired,
Hmm.
and so and it's part of the same universe too. And so that's also part of the serendipity super system is getting like I think I might like I've already started a paragraph for sci-fi stuff that I never
Mm-hmm.
actually followed through on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might start publishing weekly chapters in that as like a forcing function.
Yes, please.
I just got to figure out like what I care about the most in the next few weeks. You know what I mean?
But
That,
I care about this one.
yeah. That is the thing that maybe.
I think this is the tricky part too, right? Is like there's like what you want to work on at any one time, and then there's the market demand
Yeah.
side of it, and like, oh, you're lagging for me. I hope it's not my internet.
Ooh, I can see
So you
maybe
can
my
still hear
camera
me.
overheated. That's fun.
Oh, it's very funny because it's frozen on you with a grumpy face. But what I really wanted to, gosh, I'm losing my thought because now you're frozen. So I'm gonna read the comments. Oh, very thanks, BBB. Even on the editor, holler, I'll send you my novella draft in return. Nice. So many novella people. Please share your draft in the Discord. I think in the Show Your Work channel, we really love watching everyone's work in progress. It's super motivating, and it's also a place to get feedback if you will want some. And of course, if you don't want feedback, you can also be like, I don't want feedback. I just want to show off, and that's totally okay too. I think especially with creative work, I personally find that oftentimes I'm like, no, I just want a pat on the back, no feedback, please.
Sorry, I'm working on this camera thing here.
Oh, okay. Um, is it because it's doing the turning off thing again?
No, like I think it might have just broke.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I will wrap up the show for now
Yeah.
if you can resolve it. Oh, BBB's also writing a telenovela. Please do share that.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah. But yeah, like we talked about James Clear's Atomic Habits. I think we didn't even cover like, oh, I see your other camera.
Oop.
Oh, there you go.
I'm back.
Yeah. It's almost like we could do a part two of the book because I feel like we covered only two of the topics and there's still a lot more to talk about.
Do you wanna?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily like next episode, but maybe sometime again as we are revisiting this topic.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks for dropping in. Appreciate we love new folks in the chat.
Yeah.
Jump in the Discord if you're not.
So for our next episode, we want to talk about Animal Farm by George Orwell.
You know, there's a movie coming out, right? And people are hot and bothered.
Oh, seriously? I did not know
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, the main hyper online talking points is that they switched it from anti-communist to anti-fascist.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to watch the trailer. I got to like revisit the book to have an opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see where parts of the internet would be very upset with that. Because it's like de facto like if you're not anti-communist in people's minds, you're pro-communist, right? And so like it's just another like wokeification culture war type debate, right?
Shrug. And also, I need to brush up on the historical facts surrounding when he wrote the book. Not that this matters, because I think once an art is created, we interpret it how we want.
Yeah.
Our biggest debate. But I do want to make sure that I'm remembering the details of why he wrote the book and who they were fighting at the time.
Yeah. That is always important.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great one.
Have a good rest of your day and do some good habits.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.